What fictional character death hit you the hardest? Bubba was gonna be a shrimp boat captain, but instead he died right there by that river in Vietnam. Littlefoot's mom in The Land Before Time. It kept me up at night as a kid thinking about how my parents would die someday. I still cannot watch that scene without crying. I get emotional just thinking about it. Mother. Please get up. Edit. Love you guys. Thanks for crying with me. Oh yeah. It was sad when I was a kid, but then the first time I watched it as an adult with my daughter? Brutal. I cried. Then of course she did that kid thing where they latch onto a new favorite movie and watch it over and over. Rip my emotions. I'm tired, boss. Tired of being on the road, lonely as a sparrow in the rain. I'm tired of never having a buddy to be with, to tell me where we's going to, coming from or why. Mostly, I'm tired of people being ugly to each other. I'm tired of all the pain I feel and hear in the world every day. There's too much of it. It's like pieces of glass in my head, all the time. Can you understand? I scrolled pretty far and didn't see this one listed. Poor John Coffey. Watching him crying over the 2 dead children in the stream river is one of the most haunting scenes in my movie memories, especially when your perspective changes from guilty to innocent. Sam Rockwell truly rocks the perverted inbred hillbilly in a natural Oscar-worthy fashion. Dude has never not done a scene-stealing A+ performance. His characters range from haltingly likable to insipidly hateable, but he always takes the show. Boromir, I would have followed you, my brother. My captain. My king. When you hear the horn, because he realizes he can't hold off the Uruks alone. Ducking onions right there. He killed so ducking many as well in the movie. I think last time I tried to count there were at least 30 dead around him. Dude was an absolute beast. Well, he killed a ton in the books as well. Boromir is and was a truly good man. He was tempted by the ring, fell a bit but resisted, then fought to protect Merry and Pippin in the book after he'd told Aragorn some of what happened. It just occurred to me that the ring must have tried to tempt Aragorn with power, like it does for everyone else. But Aragorn has spent his life resisting and refusing and turning down that power, because he felt he would become another Isildur, ushering in another end to mankind. Imagine as a kid you find out your direct ancestors are kind of directly responsible for the state of the world today, with terrible evil monsters threatening to run over the world and wipe out human civilization. I mean, yes, wasn't Sauron, who was actually responsible for that, but your ancestor had the chance to stop him. He was literally right at the finish line, but was already corrupted. Imagine the burden you'd feel about taking up the claim to the throne. Edit. Despite the upvotes, I've read enough of the comments to realize I'm wrong. I have read the books, but that was so long ago, and I've seen the movies many times, I don't remember any details from the books. Sorry for getting it wrong. No living being could ever have done what was necessary. That's what I love about the ending so much. No matter who you are, no matter how strong, it will win in the end. Power ineffably corrupts. No living being would have been able to cast that ring into the flames. And none did. It was strongest in the one place it could be destroyed, making that final leap impossible. Very well written ending, emo. It all hangs together and also creates a very compelling storyline build-up to a very satisfying conclusion, with 3 of the great characters in fantasy all playing their parts true to themselves. Brendan Fraser in Scrubs. Where do you think we are? The dog from Futurama. Thomas, Macaulay Culkin, in the movie My Girl. When she broke down at his funeral because he couldn't see without his glasses frown. This was the first time a movie made me cry. 30 years later, I still start sobbing uncontrollably when Vader enters the room where the funeral is held. I find your lack of glasses disturbing, Coke. Technically, you don't experience his death during the show. Iroh grieving Lu Ten gets me every time, though, and it makes me very sad. Well, this is a very dangerous post to be scrolling through. The Girl in Bridge to Terabithia. It's sadder when I learn that it's inspired by the author's son having a best friend who died from being struck by lightning at the age of 8. Thank you. Now it's even more depressing. Frown. The Iron Giant. I go. You stay. No following. No please, it's too early in the day to cry. Tadashi in Big Hero 6. My older brother has been a big positive influence on me, and that death always makes me imagine a world without him. Stoic the Vast from How to Train Your Dragon 2. 7 years later, I am still not over his death. It absolutely wrecked me that he was reunited with his wife after 20 years of thinking she was dead only for him to die shortly after. And hiccup only getting to see them sing their song once together. But he did get to see it. Charlotte, in the original version of Charlotte's Web. Nobody, of the hundreds of people that had visited the fair, knew that a gray spider had played the most important part of all. No one was with her when she died. Read the book to my kids a while ago and I could barely get through the ending. My kids looked at me like I was crazy. Then we had a daddy long-legged spider in our house we named Charlotte that died about a month ago. They cried for a week. Our whole family misses her frown. My daughter's kindergarten teacher was reading this book to them in school this year. It seems like it kind of fell off the schedule before the end of the book, though. I wonder if avoiding crying like a blubbering baby in front of 23 6-year-olds is why it fell off. The upside is my daughter loves the book and is very insistent that we read it to her at home. I'm stoked that it's helped foster a love of reading and books. On the other hand, I'm not stoked to have to read the ending aloud myself. Andrea's death in Breaking Bad and the fact that they made Jesse watch Helpless. I posted a Breaking Bad answer as well, but I said Hank and Gomi. I'm sort of second-guessing my answer now as I forgot about that scene. Jesus, that was ducked up. I remember my first watch through and was just blown away at just how incredibly heart-wrenching fiction can be. Vince Gilligan is an insanely talented individual. The Freaking Mouse from Flowers for Algernon. When I was little, I remembered looking at the movie. Then when I was older, I decided to read the book. Imagine my confusion when I rented Flowers in the Attic. Edit, grammar. Fewer mice, a lot more incest. The Girl from Bridge to Terabithia. Bridge to Terabithia is probably the first tragedy genre item that many kids read, and it really sneaks that in after the first 34 of the book being about imagination and growth, then bam, dead kid. Traumatizing 100%. I had no knowledge of the story until the movie came out. So here I am at a theater with a woman I liked and her friend, and am a 26-year-old man trying not to squall like a baby. Screw regular content ratings. They need to have emotional warnings. It gets maligned sometimes for having a lot of categories, but dostydogdy.com is pretty much exactly that. Brooks, Shawshank Redemption. Dear fellas. I can't believe how fast things move on the outside. I saw an automobile once when I was a kid, but now they're everywhere. The world went and got itself in a big damn hurry. The parole board got me into this halfway house called the Brewer, and a job bagging groceries at the Foodway. It's hard work. I try to keep up, but my hands hurt most of the time. I don't think the store manager likes me very much. Sometimes after work I go to the park and feed the birds. I keep thinking Jake might just show up and say hello. But he never does. I hope wherever he is, he's doing okay and making new friends. I have trouble sleeping at night. I have bad dreams, like I'm falling. I wake up scared. Sometimes it takes me a while to remember where I am. Maybe I should get me a gun and rob the Foodway, so they'd send me home. I could shoot the manager while I was at it, sort of like a bonus. I guess I'm too old for that sort of nonsense anymore. I don't like it here. I'm tired of being afraid all the time. I've decided not to stay. I doubt they'll kick up any fuss. Not for an old crook like me. That he calls the prison home and is worried about Jake. Those are the parts that get me. What's worse is that Jake is a direct metaphor for Brooks. It's likely Jake has died or will soon die, as he has always been cared for by Brooks and doesn't know how to survive outside on his own. Brooks thinks he's setting Jake free when the reality is he's condemning him to a probably horrible death. The prison thinks they're setting Brooks free when really we know what's going to happen to him. Jake's dead. In the novella, they find Jake dead in the yard a week after Brooks leaves. Guess he was institutionalized, just like Brooks.